Look, I know I said I'd be doing the boon supports now, but the patch and some stuff on my end have made a complete mess of my upload schedule. I'm sorry. Anyway, speaking of the patch, pure DPS builds really didn't change a whole lot. That is, except for Ranger. Untamed is going to have to be a topic for another day. For now, it's time for the shiny new Condi Druid. And, disclaimer, this fight got really messy. One of our healers died early. Sabetha just be like that sometimes. The build itself, however, sure is something. It takes after some slightly older versions of Condi Soul Beast, in that it's heavily focused on bleeding. Hidden Barbs makes your bleeds better than anybody else's, and Core Ranger has a lot of sources for it. But with Druid, you get a new synergistic trait that becomes a cornerstone of the build, Blood Moon, which procs bleeding whenever you apply a MOB or a CC. Now, this thing does list an 8-second internal cooldown, but that actually only applies to the daze portion of the trait, not bleeding. This is why skills like Signet of the Wild work so well with it. It procs 4 separate instances of the trait. This also makes the Jacaranda your best DPS pet by a mile, because the F2 still procs the trait, which uses your Condi stats, which are always better than the pet's. In a sense, this playstyle has a lot of similarities with Reaper. You cycle between your 2 weapons, basically all of the skills are good, and then you go into Celestial Avatar basically whenever you can. You don't tend to stick around in it for very long. 5 and 3 are your primary damage skills. And I say whenever you can, because Astral Force can be pretty inconsistent. Depending on how you look at it, this can be dynamic and fun, or kinda annoying. Self-healing also generates Astral Force, which means that Ascended Food that has Lifesteal on it actually can help you here. Alternatively, for something less costly, Water Spirit is also very effective at generating Astral Force. The Shout Heal lets you share boons with your pet, which is a DPS increase, but it's not really a huge deal, and that means you're playing without a heal skill anyway. One more thing about the trait choices. You are running light on your feet, but it's mostly to buff the shortbow skills, not because of the buff you get when you dodge. Your defenses are a bit hard to fully evaluate. Ranger's base stats and the Wilderness survival traits are of course really solid. You do also have the healing from Celestial Avatar, and by extension Live Vicariously, which is really cool, but with no investment in healing power, it's usually pretty minor. In theory, you can invest into something like Plague Doctor's gear, which if nothing else is really interesting, but it is a major trade-off in the damage department. Utility is where this build especially shines. I just talked about the healing aspect, but by default you also have decent CC, Condi Cleanse, and of course long mobs. But slot-ins, oh boy. You have more CC in the form of a push, a group stun break, a source of stability, Aegis, a strong group res, and of course Condi Cleanse. Like, so much Condi Cleanse. Druid has always been designed as a healer first and foremost. As a result, the Condi version can feel a little off. Celestial Avatar just does not feel or play like similar transformation skills like Necro Shrouds. But that doesn't change the fact that this build is really, really good. Honestly, I'm expecting it to get at least a small damage nerf in the future, and even if it does, it's still gonna be quite good.